Hey guys, I want to do this a little quickly because I want to hop in the. Well, I gotta go get myself ready. Basically, hop in the shower, get myself ready. But anyway, I wanted to come on here and talk about Spike and Rarity again, Sparity, if you will, and basically why it is still featured and utilized in media. Most recently in the IDW, I should say, um, comic in the IDW comic, the 2019 My Little Pony Friendship is Magic holiday annual that just came out the day before Thanksgiving, which I did get. I got the digital version. I don't know if I'll get the physical one. I have to look, see which comic book shop online has it. But I did get the digital item. And I'll say this, I'll put it like this. It's really good. It's a really good story between Spike and Rarity. It helps develop, as far as the comic goes, really helps develop the friendship. Um, it, it really it really plays into basically, Rarity admitting that she's going to all these soirees, all these parties that she's invited to, and it seems that anytime she wants to start up conversation or get something going, the other ponies at the parties are more interested in other things, and it's only until there's a certain situation that occurs in the story that Rarity basically, after Spike pretty much says, "Look, I did this so I could spend more time with you," basically, kind of saying, "Look, I gave up what I wanted to do during the holidays so I can be with you because you basically mean that much to him." Because she basically means that much to him. Not just as a friend, but as something more. So, anyway, long story short, she realizes what she's done and she basically feels guilty about it and even apologizes. And there's a moment in the comic when she's apologizing, she holds up a hoof for him to hold. And I looked at that and I said to myself, I see what you did here. I see what you did here. And then on top of that, one of the things she offered to do, which we never saw on the show, but you would think, well, wait a minute, Spike can fly and everything. Why would she offer it to him? But then again, you remember in the story, it's snowing a little bit. Um, she offers to ride him back. Well, not ride him, but offers to carry him. Basically, have him ride on her back to Ponyville from where they are because of a crash that occurred, a train crash, if you will, accidental, if you will. But anyway, you have to read the comic though to see what I'm talking about, and it's really good. And it may not have a mistletoe moment or anything like that, but it's definitely a good story. And there are glimpses of Sparity in there because Spike, he always wants to give Rarity that grand entrance, like not just for her or not just for himself or for both of them, but for her. He wants to hold the door open for her and everything, but he never gets a chance to do it until at least the end of the story where he gets the grand entrance thanks to Twilight and Rainbow Dash and other ponies coming to their aid after the crash. But anyway, though, yeah, it was a cute story, and I think honestly the reason they went with this, I think honestly the reason they went with it is because of the fact that what other characters could match that scenario, and it also builds upon the fact that yes, there's something special between the characters, but in the long run, it's also a very strong friendship, a very close friendship, as I say in the description. But again, but here's the thing. But again, here's the thing that I was trying to say there. A lot of people are always wondering. In fact, when the story was announced, and I got to get ready in just a bit. But when the story was announced, a lot of people, a lot of people were like, again, really? We're doing another Sparity story? We're doing another Spike and Rarity story? What the heck? You know? And, or not, well, not just another Spike and Rarity, Sparity story, but basically there were some people that were wondering, why do you keep putting these two together, IDW? And here's the thing. Here's why I think that IDW, the writers of the IDW comic, as well as those in the animated show, especially in the later seasons, why they decided to bring Rarity and Spike together again, or at least focus on them and their friendship, because, as I said, I think it's a very naturally organic, if not believable, friendship that in the long run could develop into something more. And as a matter of fact, when I did my Could It Be pony music video, my Could It Be PMV, if you will, which, of course, that song by Christy Carlson Romano from Kim Possible, So the Drama, which was the last Kim Possible movie, animated wise, people commented that basically the song when it came out, you listen to the lyrics, and if you watched Kim Possible, you know that basically a lot of people were always wanting Kim and Ron to get together. And basically that was the end goal, obviously, of the creative staff on the show, because what did we get at the end of So the Drama? We got Kim and Ron together officially. Not because some kind of love potion or machine or invention and all that, but naturally. We had a natural situation happen between the two. And there were hints dropped throughout the show before that. And they even built upon that relationship in the final season. Now, as far as Spike and Rarity goes, people, not just at IDW creative-wise and even on the animated series, not only do they probably see a similarity to that because maybe they were fans of the show, Kim Possible, that is, but again, they look at a story that in the long run, fans can interpret in their own way. Heck, even after Kim Possible ended, the animated series ended, people were still interpreting Kim Possible stories of what happens afterwards. Okay, what happens after Kim and Ron graduate from high school? They go to college. Do they go to college together? Do they get married? And people, through very good drawings and animation drawings, I should say, would try to tell the story of what happens afterwards. And that's why, I believe the creative staff on both ends still go with Spike and Rarity at times, because they look at a friendship that that could be interpreted in any which way direction. I mean, they left the door freaking wide open. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. When Best Gift Ever when you see Best Gift Ever now, you can look at it and say, okay, does it take place between seasons 8 and 9? Or does it take place, continuity-wise, between the aftermath of the ending of the end and the coronation that we see in the flashback in the final episode, in the epilogue episode, The Last Problem? Does it take place between then? And a lot of folks that are fans of Spike and Rarity will probably say, you know what, it would make more sense if it takes place between the aftermath of the ending of the end and Twilight's coronation, because it's more believable. It's more believable in a sense that Spike, he's getting at this moment, he's mentioning the fact that he's getting older, he's growing up, that as part of that, he'd be like, you know what, this could be my only chance, I'm going to go for it. And there you go. And I think, honestly, and again, there you go. And I think, honestly, that's how the creative staff, my opinion, that's how the creative staff look at it. They look at it as a story that can be interpreted and even expanded on on in any which way a fan wants it to be expanded on. And even they themselves know that. And they have basically, and they know, those that are going to work on the season 10 comic, they know they have that opportunity in front of them. Heck, honestly, here's the thing. Do you think the people, the writers behind, the artist and the writers behind this recent holiday story, do you think honestly, and this is a good question, as I'm looking at the time because I got to get ready for work here, but do you think honestly they didn't realize that they might get some fans, asking why you keep doing this? Why are you doing Spike and Rarity again? Do you not think they didn't know that or see that? Of course they did. Of course they did. They probably knew that was going to happen, but here's the thing. Unlike an animated series, in comics, you can get away with a little bit more. You can have a little bit more freelance. Even Dr. Wolf mentioned the fact that with the comic book version of Friendship is Magic, you could do a lot more. I think he mentioned that in one of his videos. You could do a lot more than what you could do, obviously, with an animated television series. You could do a lot more. You can expand on other things. You could expand on close friendships even more so. You can develop and evolve those friendships into something more. I mean, they didn't have to put Spike with Rarity. They didn't have to write this part where Spike says, yeah, I'll go with you. You want some company? Because obviously that's all it takes. Spike just tells Rarity in this holiday story that was released, oh, you want some company? Boom, instant date. If you want to look at it that way. But it's the truth. It is the absolute truth. That when you look at it, they didn't have to have Spike do that. They could have had just the story focus on Rarity and that's it. Or Rarity being accompanied by one of her other friends like Rainbow Dash or Fluttershy or whoever. Just as a friendship, just coming together as friends, that's it. Even Twilight, even though Twilight had to be at her party. But you get the idea. They could have had that. They could have done that. But they didn't. They went with Spike. Why? Because whether anybody wants to agree with it or not, and everybody has a right to their opinion on how they feel about it, but whether they want to agree with it or not, Spike and Rarity is probably the most popular ship in the franchise of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic overall. More popular than Cadence and Shining Armor, more popular than even Rarajack, which is Rarity Applejack, and I hate to say that, because I know some people support that. More popular than Apple Dash, which is Applejack Rainbow Dash. More popular than Pinky and Cheese Sandwich. You name it. Even Twilight and Sunset, Twilight Starlight, Starlight Sunburst, Twilight Flash, not Flash, but Flash Century. Even more popular than that. And you can't tell me the creative staff on both ends don't know that. Because if they didn't, why would they refocus it? Why would they put some stories together? Why would they put some story plots within things like, let's say, Best Gift Ever to do that? Why would they do it? They wouldn't. They did it because they know it's a popular pairing that fans like to see, because the friendship is a friendship that they've seen done in other shows previously that is organically developing in front of their eyes, believably developing in front of their eyes into probably something more. And again, when you look at Best Gift Ever now, you can interpret it as taking place afterwards, during the aftermath or between the aftermath of the ending of the end and Twilight's coronation. You could look at it from that perspective, and it would make sense. You can still look at it if you want to from taking place between seasons 8 and 9, and that's fine. And that's fine, I should say. But when you really get down to it, just like Rainbow Road Trip, Best Gift Ever is the kind of story that you can have take place at any time. You can. in any part in the continuity of the series. You can have it take place. And that's why I look at the fact that now, if you want to, in my opinion, I'll look at it this way. It takes place between. I say it does take place because they don't give you a specific timeline, really. They don't say. I mean, yeah, they have Twilight mentioning the midterms and all that for the school and all that, and you might say, well, that kind of screws things up, doesn't it, Brian? Because she's going to become a princess. Here's the thing: she did hand off her head mayor job to Starlight. Yes, she did pass it on to Starlight, but she's still kind of the head mayor in charge until the official coronation. So she's still technically like the head mayor, continuity wise, of her school until the coronation when she finally becomes the new ruler along with her friends. So she still technically has say in there, and she still technically has to grade papers, especially if, as we see at the beginning of Best Gift Ever, Starlight's going on a camping trip with Trixie for the holiday. Get what I'm saying? Point is, you could look at Best Gift Ever as taking place in between any of those time frames, in between any time of the series continuity, animated wise. But everybody would look at the fact that from a true animation standpoint, but anybody would probably look at it now, I should say, is probably taking place between the aftermath of the ending of the end and the coronation. And the reason Twilight would say, oh, she needs to grade the midterms is because Starlight's on vacation, so she has to take charge of that. Thus, technically, like I said, she's still the head mayor of the school. I know it sounds convoluted and everything, but it makes sense, which is why, if you're a Sparity supporter, you could look at Best Gift Ever as taking place in between that. In between the aftermath of the ending of the end and the coronation. And furthermore, when you think about it, honestly, again, people wonder why Spike and Rarity, Sparity always, sometimes get stories developed for them in the series and in the comics and all that, animated comics, you name it. It's because it works. Like I said, it's a natural, like I said before, it's something that's very believable. It reminds even the creative staff of other kind of scenarios of friendships that were in that same scenario, in that same category. Again, good example is Kim Possible, Ron Stoppable from Kim Possible. Everybody knew that they were going to hook up. Fans wanted them to hook up. Disney gave it to them and saw the drama. And then they continued to build on it to the end. And even after the series ended, they continued to interpret that relationship and what happens afterwards. Do they go to college together? Do they get married? And again, and as I said earlier, there's a lot of well-drawn imageries out there that kind of look like they could be out of the show that show Kim and Ron being together, being married, being in college, stuff like that. So, so that's why, Spike and Rarity is still given spotlight even after the animated portion of the franchise is done because of the fact that it's a very popular, portion of the franchise that fans like to see and support. They want to see it grow. They want to see it develop. Heck, that's why there's a possibility you're going to see it in some shape or form in this Pony Life spinoff that takes place next year on Discovery Family. And whether or not the Pony Life is one of those 11 to 15 minute animated series that gets aired in between when a commercial should be, that's totally up in the air. But if you have Spike next to Rarity and all this, and there's that image going around, it looks like Rarity's kind of flirtatious with Spike, and Spike's like, yeah, I'm the man kind of deal. It makes people wonder. It makes them wonder. So, there's a possibility of that happening in that series. And if it's supposed to be silly, as Dr. Wolf even talked about, Who's to say you won't get a lustful melt cake from Spike or even a lustful melt cake from Rarity, where they melt into a puddle and then they reform or something. I don't know. Maybe you'll get a story of Spike becoming a pony temporarily with wings, a Pegasus, and Rarity sees him as this and it's like, oh wow, or she becomes a dragon and Spike sees her and oh wow, kind of deal. So who knows? Who knows? Because the portion of it is the plot is supposed to have potions involved. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, though, I thought I'd just bring that up. I thought I'd just bring that up here and really, and really, in the end, one has to wonder. But in the end, like I'm saying, people still wonder why. And honestly, folks, it's because it's a very popular portion of the overall Friendship is Magic franchise that fans support and love. And the creative staff on both ends of the spectrum, animated and comic book wise, they know that. And that's why you still get stories with Spike and Rarity. So that's really about it, guys. I got to go get ready, hop in the shower and get ready. Let me know what you guys think, though, of what I had to say. Comment below. Thank you all thank you all to those that chatted in the live chat. Really appreciate it. And that's about it, guys. So until next time, God bless. Take care. I'm out. I gotta get ready for work.